briefing for the week. My name is Gienda Peldrin Blanche King. Head of State President Paul Biya has offered a financial package worth 80 million francs CFA to families of those who were brutally murdered in Ngabo in the northwest region of the country in what is today called or termed Ngabo massacre. This was disclosed yesterday. Eileen Sama tells us more in the report that follows.
Each family of the Ngabo massacre of February 14, 2020 have received a sum of 5 million francs CFA to construct a house alongside goods including mattresses and household items. President Biya handed over the sum of 80 million francs CFA for the family of victims of the Ngabo massacre through an envoy, the governor of the Northwest region, Anglophone Afrique, who went to Ngabo. It is worth mentioning that the corpses of all 21 civilians killed, including a pregnant woman and kids, are yet to be exhumed and buried as promised, reason why Governor Lily Lafrique told families of victims of the massacre to indicate when ready for the state to exhume the corpses and give the victims a befitting funeral.
The head of state instructed to build befitting graves to celebrate the memory of those victims. We have asked them to prepare themselves for the funerals. As soon as they are ready, they should report it to us so that we can come to discuss, to assist them during the funeral at the level of the graves.
Note should be taken here that the government initially denied responsibility for the massacre, but later a commission of inquiry established that the horrible act was carried out by soldiers and members of a local vigilante believed to have been settling scores over an earlier disagreement with the people of Ngabo in the Northwest region. Following the government's admission of the role played by its soldiers in the massacre, calls have been heightened by the national and international communities for inquiries to be opened into several other situations similar to the Ngabo carried out since the onset of the conflict in the two English-speaking regions, the most recent being that of Malta in the Southwest region in January 2021, while the trial of the accused in the Ngabo massacre resumes this month in Yaoundé.
Human Rights Watch has accused the army of being involved in recent killings in Mautu village in the southwest region of the country. Local armed groups have equally been accused of human rights violations. These findings are contained in a document published recently. Dalingonde talks more about the contents of the document in the following report.
The dust is yet to settle following the brutal killing of some unarmed civilians in Mautu, Moyuke subdivision of the southwest region of Cameroon, as the international rights group Human Rights Watch has recently published a report linked to the general return killings. Contained in the report, the Cameroonian army is blamed for perpetrating the murdering of over 9 civilians, including an aged woman, in that part of the country. The report, which is published on its website, further carries a declaration of the Deputy Director of the Rights Group indicating that killing civilians and razing their houses in the name of security are gross human rights abuses in the Anglophone regions. Based on testimonies given them by some 17 unidentified persons, the Rights Group says this number constitutes persons who were interviewed related to the bereaved, making the information known. As additional testimony, Doctors Without Borders, an international health emergency unit, also disclosed that upon deployment to Mautu, where they treated a total number of 4 persons wounded by bullets, in their interaction with the locals, they say 4 credible persons were contacted with regards to the 9 persons murdered in the village, and according to the results, all fingers are pointing towards the direction of the military. Based on these findings, the Rights Group on the part immediately fast-forwarded the results to the Communications Director at the Ministry of Defense, Serge Cyril Atonfak, who denied their evidences and termed them fabricated. However, in his own words, he disclosed that elements of the 21st Motorized Infantry Battalion carried out an operation in Mautu on the 10th of January, but insisted they neither killed nor wounded any civilian. The Rise Group in its investigation says about 50 military men marched into Mautu 2 p.m. on that fateful day, opening fire indiscriminately, killing an old woman plus a 6-year-old girl. In confirmation, these findings have also been adhered by some home-based human rights civil society organizations, including the Center for Human Rights and Democracy for Africa of Barrister Agbobalan Kamer, as well as the Network for Human Rights Defenders in Central Africa. While being balanced in its publication, the Human Rights Watch also accused armed groups for human rights violations and abuses in the two restive Anglophone regions of Cameroon. And in its capacity, the Rise Group now demands an apt and prompt international investigations in order to discover many of such violations committed by the two conflicting groups. On his part, the UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres has called on Cameroonian authorities to ensure that suspects of this massacre are brought to book in the face of the law while taking responsibility for their actions.
Students of the Faculty of Economics and Management Sciences at the University of Nchang will have to retake their examinations following an attack or an arson attack on the administrative block. The Vice Dean of the faculty in charge of Students' Affairs disclosed that the faculty has rescheduled examinations after scripts of at least 4 subjects were burnt recently. Lasha Kinsley has the full report.
Examination at the Faculty of Economics and Management Sciences of the University of Chang has been disrupted after scripts of at least 4 subjects, including question papers, were consumed by an arson attack at the faculty. The examination, which was supposed to end this Saturday, February 6, 2021, has been suspended due to the arson attack. Professor Nula is the Vice Dean in charge of Students' Affairs of the Faculty of Economics and Management Sciences of the University of Chang.
Les copies des examens depuis lundi étaient stockées dans la mesure où on ne retire pas de manière automatique.
Examination scripts since Monday were kept under a condition where they could not just be withdrawn automatically. This is because examinations are written every day. We regret the sad incident because many subjects will be rewritten. A commission has been put in place to take stock of the number and different scripts that were burnt down in the incident. And eventually, the same commission will bring its proposal to us. The suspect of the arson attack, who is now in police custody, has revealed that he carried out the act to erase evidence of examination fraud he had involved himself into. We are in tears because one of our students is behind this heinous act. He is a Master 1 student reading public finance. He had threatened the security guard when he was caught doing the act. He also declared at the police station that he carried out the act to erase all evidence of examination malpractice. Because we are talking about a fraudster here, he also revealed that he had been the one behind 2 other fire incidents at the faculty some years back. This is the 3rd fire incident in 4 years at the faculty. In order to ensure the security of persons and property, the Vice Chancellor of the University of Chang, Professor Roger Tafak Namfoso, has in a recent communiqué prohibited all movements along paths leading to the university apart from official routes.
Today is National Bilingualism Day, celebrated every first Friday of February to promote English and French in all 10 regions of the country. My Major Prime visited a school here in Douala to see how the 2021 edition of National Bilingualism Day was celebrated. We compile the following.
On the first Friday, February of each year, Bilingualism Day.
On the occasion of the 2021 edition of National Bilingualism Day, these students have dedicated time and efforts to the service of fatherland, fostering bilingualism and nation building. Celebrated under the theme Bilingualism, a tool for resilient, quantitative and inclusive education, the 2021 edition of Bilingualism Day is a wake-up call that every Cameroonian is obliged to identify with the two languages recognized as the official languages in the country. Mr. Lemogo Corentin is former Southwest Regional Pedagogic Inspector and Principal of Treman Bilingual College.
Ce bilinguisme, c'est une particularité camerounaise. Faut comprendre que nous sommes deux parties, mais deux parties qui ne forment qu'un seul et même corps. Que nous avons d'un côté une culture anglophone, de l'autre côté une culture francophone, mais que les deux forment le riche Cameroun, où on ressort tout. C'est pour ça que nous avons appris à nos enfants dès lundi qu'ils doivent, le francophone doit savoir dire à son ami anglophone, doit savoir dire en la langue de l'autre.
According to Mr. Kofi Ngoe Armstrong, the use of English and French should not end at the level of administrative buildings and papers. It should be applied daily, as being open to more than one language paves the way for opportunities in and out of the country.
Nowadays, language is not only language or learning one language will open a door for you, but learning two or more languages open a wide corridor of opportunities. Because we are opportune to be a bilingual country, it was but necessary that all and sundry gets into it. That is why they are talking of inclusive education.
The celebration of Bilingualism Day equally promotes living together in diversity, subduing the ideas of division in a country where 8 regions are predominantly French-speaking and 2 dominant in English language. Observing anti-COVID-19 measures, the students display patriotism and love for fatherland, represented through spoken word poetry, rhymes, brain tests, arts and craft, and dancing to Cameroonian rhythm. They also expressed their views on this year's celebration.
La signification du jour du bilinguisme, c'est comme une unification entre les anglophones et les francophones. Oui, nous devons nous unir, être un et indivisible. C'est ce que je pense du journée du bilinguisme.
I'm very happy because my country is a bilingual country, what each country in Africa have been looking for. So I'm grateful today because each way wants to go today in Cameroon, you need to speak either French or English, and for that reason that Cameroon have 8 regions, over 10, 2 are speaking English and the other 8 are speaking French.
All is well that ends well. The message of peace and inclusion was effectively passed and well received, taking the next appointment for the first Friday of February 2022. Elements of the Douala 2 Gendarmerie have arrested an impostor who presented himself as an element of the Rapid Intervention Battalion B. The man called Shalem made everyone believe he is a sergeant chief with the Cameroon Army. Fully dressed in B uniform, he was also in possession of a weapon and riding a bicycle. After interrogation, he revealed that his admiration for the job pushed him into posing as a military personnel. Away from that, let's now move over to the northwest region of the country. Kingmakers of Bafmen in Fungom subdivision, Menchum division of the northwest region of Cameroon, have presented their new fund to administration and the public as the 10th fund. His Majesty Maxwell Ndecham takes over from Fon Aneng Francis, one-time president of Northwest Funds Union. Charles Kebwa tells us more.
Bafmen, a locality in Fungom subdivision, Menchum division of the Northwest region, a second-class fundum, has a new phone. His Majesty Maxwell Ndecham was yesterday 4th February 2021 at the Bafmen Funds Palace in the presence of Menchum's administration led by SGO Abdullahi Aliu, presented by Kingmakers as the 10th fund of the Bafmen people to the public. He takes over from Fon Anung Francis, Politburo member of the CPDM and one-time president of the Northwest Funds Union, who recently disappeared. The Bafmen people in Fungom subdivision of Menchum will now be led by His Majesty Maxwell Ndecham, a seasoned financial expert and entrepreneur with over 30 years of experience managing different financial institutions. Talking to his people shortly after his coronation and his choice, the new fund called on his people to build a sense of sincere belonging, committed, joyously reinforce the peaceful coexistence with the Muslim communities. The Mororos and Fulanis collaborate and adopt modern farm techniques, together establish the mindset of law, confidentiality and ensure development in the fundum.
We must appropriate development projects and build a sense of belonging to conveniently assure the financial sustainability of projects. We must first count on ourselves, given the enormous potential we have. Government, we will take care of that. We will bring government to help us. That we have to jealously preserve and reinforce our peaceful coexistence with our brothers and sisters of the Mororo community and the Fulanis. The persistent farmer-grazer problems that have been straining the cordial relations between the farmers and cattle grazers should be something of the past.
His Majesty Maxwell becomes the 10th fund of men since the founding of the Bafmen Fundum. His choice has been accepted by the Men Cultural and Development Association, entire elites in and abroad, as best known of his love for his community.
In the Southwest region, over 400 farmers who participated in the 7th edition of Mevio Cultural Development Assembly have benefited from farm inputs donated by the Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development alongside other sponsors. This was during a workshop which ushered in the 2021 edition of MEF Kuda. Details with Kuma Honorembo.
On the backdrop of the MEF-Kuda Cultural and Development Assembly, which held in December 2020, participants at the training workshop have received their end of training certificates, while some registered farmers associations have received farming equipment. The MEF-Kuda platform has an aim of promoting development in Mevio village and beyond. Diko Forderson is a chief of Mevio village.
We are saying that MEF-Kuda is a platform put in place to facilitate government agencies to expose their opportunities. Government is doing a lot. Government has a lot of opportunities in several ministries. But somebody needs to get the grassroots to know about these opportunities. It is true that the government is also using its own windows, but we of the civil society should tell people that the opportunity.
It should be recalled that the Mevio Cultural and Development Assembly met from the 18th to the 20th of December 2020. It has an aim to bridge the gap between the grassroots population and parastate corporations who display their programs, project and carry out other social responsibility activities beneficial to the well-being of the people. The ceremony was presided over by the representative of the DO of Limbe 1 in the presence of other administrative authorities of Limbe 1. The DO's representative lauded the organizers of this event and called on the beneficiaries to put into proper use the gifts they received, while to the others, he exhorted them to use the certificates to build their CVs. The beneficiaries, on their part, appreciated the gifts and promised to improve agricultural productivity.
We will be very happy for our check. When they handle me, you know, we discriminate whether you are from here, whether you are from here. treat me equally as a Cameroon citizen. That's why we are living far enough.
The rendezvous has been taken for the last quarter of the year 2021 for a bigger and better Mefkuda gathering.
Gladys Bomotongina has African news compiled in the French language.
Le 60e anniversaire de la commémoration du début de la lutte pour l'indépendance ce jeudi en Angola a été marqué par une manifestation dans la capitale Luanda où une centaine de manifestants se sont réunis pour dénoncer la crise économique et demander un changement politique. Ceux-ci se sont vus immédiatement dispersés par la police nationale grâce à l'usage de gaz lacrymogène. Pour les autorités, il s'agissait là d'un regroupement illégal et que ces derniers auraient commis plusieurs actes de vandalisme. Une situation qui surprend ces partisans qui n'en reviennent pas de la quantité d'hommes contenus déployés sur les lieux. Au sortir de là, 6 personnes ont perdu la vie et de nombreux autres ont été blessés. En République démocratique du Congo, les sénateurs pro-Kabila dénoncent ce jeudi 4 février 2021 un virage dictatorial de la part du gouvernement actuel en relation avec leur idéologie actuelle de lutte contre la longévité au pouvoir. En effet, le Sénat a nommé un bureau temporaire pour la supervision du travail de la Chambre haute, après que l'actuel président Félix Tshisekedi ait mis un terme à l'ancien gouvernement de coalition en décembre dernier. Coalition majoritairement dominée par les alliés de Kabila. En Mozambique, une bonne partie de la population sera soumise dès ce vendredi à un couvre-feu qui débutera dès 21h et se terminera à 4h du matin. Une situation qui n'a pas été observée dans le pays depuis la fin de la guerre civile en 1992, mais qui se doit d'être pris au regard de la hausse de cas de Covid-19. En effet, plus de 42 000 personnes contaminées dans le pays depuis le début de la pandémie. Par ailleurs, tous les services religieux et événements privés, à l'exception des mariages, des activités sportives et judiciaires, sont suspendus. Le couvre-feu sera donc en vigueur jusqu'au 7 mars prochain.
It's time for sports. Let's join Etapa Content for sports updates in the French language.
À travers le Premier ministre Joseph Djangouti, son Excellence le Président de la République Paul Biya a instruit le ministre des Sports, le professeur Nassis Mouel Kombi, de mettre à la disponibilité de la Fédération camerounaise de football les moyens financiers et les stades pour la reprise sans délai des championnats du Cameroun, d'après le quotidien Mutation dans sa parution d'aujourd'hui. Cette information est la bienvenue chez certains Camerounais et pensent que si les ligues 1 et 2 doivent reprendre, qu'elles reprennent véritablement, car le pays regorge de plusieurs talents en termes du football qui doivent se préparer pour la CAN 2022 afin d'éviter la défaite de la demi-finale de samedi dernier à Limbi.
Bravo aux leurs après nous ont fait moi les anciens. Mais s'il fallait que le championnat reprenne, ça reprenne effectivement parce qu'il y a le Cameroun a des talents. On a confiance avec ils possèdent beaucoup de talents. Par exemple, Etame, Banga, etc. Ils ont des talents. Donc, si ça pouvait reprendre, vraiment, ça nous fera plaisir. Le temps pour aller distraire dans les grands stades qu'on a construits. Il y a une compétition à venir. Côte d'Afrique 2022, on peut quand même sélectionner certains parmi eux pour aller jouer la Côte d'Afrique 2022. Et c'est toujours payé. Donc, ça nous rapporte encore plus.
Parmi les causes de l'échec des poulains de Martin Tungumpili, ou tout simplement celle du football camerounais qui regorge de vifs potentiels après le conflit entre la Fcfa et la Ligue professionnelle du football camerounais, figure en lieu et bonne place l'annulation des championnats qui ont eu un impact grave sur les joueurs, les empêchant ainsi d'obtenir les victoires considérables dans les compétitions internationales. Toutefois, si les championnats redémarrent véritablement, ce sera pour le développement du football et d'autres sports du pays.
Prime News ends here. Thanks for being with us. The news was produced by Ewane Elaine Olinga, coordinated by Faith Tata Birinyo. My name is Genda Belgium Blanche King. Stay tuned to my media prime at 7 p.m. Kumluna will be live with Prime Hour. Enjoy today's edition. Happy weekend. Good night.